is a 2001 XR200 carburetor removal and cleaning. I got it for $500 a couple of years ago, and I just finally started working on it. So, hope this helps. Now, the first thing I do when I'm taking my carburetor off, you don't need to do this, but it'll help a lot because it'll give you a little bit more room to work with. Plus, you get to sit on it. You want to take the seat off. I already took these out, but there should be one nut right here and one right here. It's I believe 7/16 socket to go on your ratchet handle, and it's pretty easy. And then you can just push up on this and slide this backwards and out. Now you're gonna need to take the side panels off. So to take the side panels off, you take that nut out. I'm just doing it with pliers again. Also there should be a screw here, but that melted through for me. And then there's just clips for the other two that you can just pull out like that. It's pretty simple. On this side, I bought this with just a flathead screw in it, and if yours is different, I'm not sure what came stock, but this one has a flathead screw. For that, you need a flathead screwdriver, obviously. And then there's two more screws right there and right there that you need to unscrew to get this side panel off. Like that. Now, the very first thing that I always do when I'm working on any dirt bike is turn the fuel off. It's, it's very explosive, obviously, and you don't really want it leaking everywhere and getting all over your garage or wherever you're working. Once you turn your fuel off, you're going to take the fuel line out, which I don't have on right now, sorry about that, guys, but generally there would be a black fuel line that connects to here, and then a fuel filter that has another black fuel line that connects to right here. That already took that off because I need to replace it, but you're gonna have to take that off first, and then start undoing this nut, and then this nut on the other side right here. Oh. And then you can start getting it off, so I'm gonna start doing that. I'm just gonna use pliers because I don't really have the right socket size, and generally sockets don't fit inside of the body of a carburetor because there's so little room to do anything, to maneuver, and sockets are very big, clumsy tools. Alright, let's start removing this. Once you loosen it with pliers, generally you can just, if it's old, you're working on a 2001, so probably you can't, but I've taken this carburetor off a bunch of times, and I can just undo this nut with my fingers, and then have to do it to the other side, right here, and then I just undid it, and then I can start doing it with my fingers, again on this side. Now the next thing, there's not really a specific order that you need to do any of these things in, but this is the general way that I like to do it. Next thing you want to do is to undo this hose clamp right here that connects this hose to the air filter, connects the carburetor to the air filter. And you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, which I hope you guys know what that is, but it looks like this, the end of it. And I just have a mini one. But you undo the hose clamp, which there's a screw right there that connects the hose clamp on the other side of these shocks, connects the hose to the air filter, and undo the hose clamp. Now, I don't know if I really generally told you exactly where this hose clamp is, but it is right there where my screwdriver is, if you can see that. It's right on that black hose, and it's that black strip with a screw in it. You're gonna have to undo that, and I have to kind of do it pretty slowly because the previous owner of this bike did not take very good care of it. Stripped most of the screws, and I think, not yet. And once you have this screw loose enough, don't unscrew it all the way. Once you have the screw loose enough where you can just freely move this hose clamp like this, back and forth, then you can just take this hose, this black hose right here, and just take it right off of the carburetor. Just kind of pull, and the hose clamp may or may not come off. I just when I pull this off, I just set the hose clamp onto that part of the frame, and then it's pretty easy to maneuver because I have it stored right there, right for me. The next thing you're gonna need to do is to either pull the carburetor off of the engine or just unscrew this cap. And I'm gonna do this first. I like to have everything all done for me. This is the cap that connects the throttle cable to the throttle. And you unscrew this, and there's a spring that is compressed inside of this right there, if you can see it. You want to pull that out, and then pull the carburetor off of the engine, and go to the other side to do this. And you can just, after that, you can just pull it out. Well, wow, there's your carburetor. Now, there's gonna be some gas leaking out of it if you've used it. You're gonna wanna pour that into something. I'm just gonna pour it right into this container. Pour it in it. This is gas proof. Don't just pour it into any plastic container. Make sure that your container is gas proof, because gases can eat through most plastics, and it is very, very acidic. And so make sure all your gas is out, because you don't want your hands covered in gas. That's just nasty. It smells gross, and your family probably doesn't want to smell that. Now, to clean your freshly removed carburetor, you're going to need to remove the float bowl first, and you're going to need to remove the screws. Look like this. One goes here. I already took one out, kind of to save time. There's another one right here, and there's another one in the back right here. And so, remove those. I'm just finishing up, taking out that last screw. There it is. Put that in my little screw container there. Now, this is called the float bowl. It fills up with gas, and this is the overflow tube right here. So that when gas overflows, it goes through that tube and out this tube to the side of your dirt bike. These are the floats. This is called the main jet. If you have carburetor issues, this and or the pilot jet, which is right here, are probably the cause of them. This main jet regulates gas flow at high RPMs, so when you're revving your bike ridiculously loud, it keeps that gas flow going, and this keeps the gas flow regulated at low RPMs. And the first thing you need to do to clean it after you've removed the float bowl is to take off the main jet. And this just unscrews. You can take some pliers and untighten that really quick, and then you can just do it with your fingers. And once you remove the main jet, take that out, then you should, once you remove this, you should be able to see daylight through that hole at the top. You should also be able to see daylight through each of these. I don't know if you can see them. Each of these mini holes on the side. You should be able to see daylight through those. If you can't, I can right now, but if you can't, take some compressed air and like an air compressor and just blow the hell out of that thing. Or if you want, you can take a needle and gingerly stick it in there and clean the dirt out. Generally I just blowing it with compressed air because I have an air compressor. Alright, and that's clean for me. This carburetor has been pretty well taken care of. That's the only thing on the bike that has been. Now once you screw the main jet back in, what you're going to want to do is to unscrew the pilot jet, which is also another main carburetor issue if your bike has idle issues or is just stalling every time you let off the gas. It's probably the pilot jet right here. Now, I already loosened this with a screwdriver. What you're going to do is take a flathead, put it in the end of this, and loosen it. And then basically you can just do it with your fingers if your carburetor is well taken care of. Now, you're going to want to be able to see daylight through the end of this, just like the main jet. If you can't, try blowing through it first. Mine is fine, but if you can't blow through it, it's probably clogged. If you do that, then you can either take a needle and gingerly poke it through and get the dirt out, or you can take compressed air if that doesn't work and get the clog out. And if you don't do that, you're gonna want to buy a new one. And once you screw back this, you can screw that back in. Oh, and I forgot to mention, once you take out the float bowl, if this has a bunch of dirt and grime all around the float bowl, try and wipe it down and then soak it in gasoline so that the gas just eats it all up. And then wipe it down again. And that should do it. I mean, you can try other things. If that doesn't work, you know what's best for it based on the situation. Alright, and then once you've done that, you put the float bowl back onto the rest of the carburetor. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. It should slide nicely and neatly onto there. And then put each one of these screws back in. It's pretty easy. Screw these back in. And then I'll just screw the rest of these in and I'll see you guys in a second. Right, now that you've got your carburetor nice and clean, you get the float bowl back on. It should work better. If you're having trouble starting it, make sure the choke is right. If you guys want to skip all of this, the easy quick way is just to take the float bowl off right when it's already on the bike. And if it's been sitting for a while and you think there's a carburetor issue, before you do any of this, just unscrew this bolt right here and drain the old gas out and put some new gas in there, because that can be an issue if anything's not working. Yeah, that's about it. Comment if you guys need help putting this back on your bike. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I hope that you guys can just go back in this video and retrace your steps and put it back on. Comment any questions, any concerns, and I'll try and answer them the best that I can. And see you guys later.